Donnie.
What's up, man?
How you doing, bro?
Good, how are you?
Welcome to Arizona.
It's nice here. I like it. I'm liking it more and more.
What's been new, man? You've been missing that.
Yeah, man. Well, it's like obviously the market changed. Business needed like my full attention. So it's kind of hard to stretch myself too thin. So I just kind of like took a break from like the guru scene. And I mean, for me, it was just not the type of person to like collect somebody's money. And, you know, my business isn't doing the best for one. And for two, it's just like, what do I look like going in the scene, coaching other people's businesses and stuff like that. And my business needs help and my people need help. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Take care of home first.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I mean, as a leader, it's just, the guru scene and, you know, being your face everywhere is just exhausting sometimes. I'm sure you know how it is.
Yeah. It can be exhausting for sure. And in addition to that, it has its drawbacks, but it also has its like amazing benefits, right?
Yeah.
You get to all the people you've helped, all the people that are making money and doing deals because of the things you taught them. So it's this like double-edged sword of like, oh my God, I'm so tired versus like, it feels so good to hear when somebody kills it. But you're probably one of the only guys I know that runs this like a good JV model like we do at Keegley, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, talk to me a little bit about that, because I don't know if people on my page or in my audience really know you and what your business is. So introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm CEO of Equity Cash Offer. You know, we do quite a bit of deals, and we focus primarily on Texas. Yeah. I mean, we've done deals together. We probably didn't even know it.
Yeah. I know
like
we
constantly,
have.
Yeah.
I know we have.
A couple times a year. But yeah, it's just like, you know, I got in the game about 10 years ago and focused on building a brand. And eventually over time, as people started paying attention and respecting our brand, and we started collaborating with a lot of the industry. So especially, you know, the past couple of years, past COVID is when we really started taking, you know, the B2B model a little bit more serious, because we kind of realized, you know, once we have a brand and we have relationships in certain markets, people also can utilize that benefit as well. So, I mean, as far as like, you know, the JV model is just like a different, you know, a lot of people try to get into it. Some people are good at it, some people aren't good at it, but, you know, especially because we have a brand, it's something that we kind of developed and it's working. So,
yeah. So for those that are unfamiliar with a JV model, essentially it's, you know, one of the things that I've been screaming from the rooftops, that relationships will far outpace transactional business model. Yeah. You can work really hard to establish rapport with a seller, go into their living room, talk your game, get a contract, do the whole thing, right? Follow up, all the things. And then you finish the deal and it's over. There's no business to do there again. Mm-hmm. And you basically climbed Mount Everest to
never talk to
them again. Yeah. And that's hard for me. For one, I'm lazier than that. So I want to be able to collect dividends from the work you put into a relationship far beyond the transaction, right? And so when you do JV with people, it comes with its host of other problems, right? Yeah. And so you're typically having to do a lot of coaching, because it's usually newer wholesalers coming in and they need understanding of how to comp, buy prices. You know your list better than they do, so where things need to get dispositioned. A lot of people get into the game and they're like, here's a contract, I want to make $100,000 from it. You're like, bro, this is like maybe a $15,000 deal. And so working with expectations and of course running volume, which is what we do, right? And that means a overhead, right? Because you've got to staff it. There's expenses with software, there's expenses with office. You don't get to run a lean business. And I've really juggled this in my mind, you know, since building Keegley and taking it to where it is. This year was our third most profitable year in the corporate stores. And then, you know, the franchises are their own thing. And so it's just this big monster. And then I sometimes see young guys coming out and running a really lean shop, and they'll tell me how they do, and I'm like, damn, man, you took home a lot of money this month, right? Because they have no expenses. They don't have to worry about a lot of that. So now that you've gone down this path, what are your thoughts? Are you still happy with the decision to do a big shop?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, we're going to continue to grow. You know, when I got into this space, it wasn't just to like make quick cash or make a lot of money. It was definitely like a full career commitment, you know, and I feel like that's kind of what sets us apart, and probably you as well. Is just like when I entered into this space, it wasn't just like a temporary thing. It was like I had a whole other business, you know, a multi-million-dollar marketing company before I made the decision to go full-time real estate. And it's just like, if I do this and I, you know, transition, I'm going to do it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's certain periods within, you know, breaking points when you kind of realize certain things. And I mean, obviously in real estate, your reputation is everything, right? And maintaining it and protecting it and building it and letting other people know what you do. And obviously, you know, as you continue to build your brand, there's positives to that. There's benefits. And the biggest fulfillment factor is just the impact that you're able to do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it was rough, you know, the past couple of years. A lot of people needed help. I mean, even our company was struggling a lot with dispositions. And we kind of realized it's like, hey, if we're struggling with this or it's challenging and difficult right now, then other people are going to see it too. So it's just like we kind of focused entirely on the disposition side of it. And, you know, we're able to serve and help a lot of people.
I love it.
You know?
And you do. You know, I've heard incredible things about your guys' company. You run a really good culture there. Your people are happy. You don't have a lot of turnover. And the same thing with us. When you run a good culture with a good leadership, people stay, they're happy, they're well paid, and everyone's the better for it.
Yeah.
What would you say one of the biggest lessons you've learned in creating a culture?
Culture is just like, you know, people, they don't quit companies, they quit people, right? And if you're in a position where you have to like wake up and you kind of like dread going to where you're going to work and to make income, it's only like a ticking bomb, you know what I mean?
Right.
So culture is extremely important, especially when it comes to building sales teams, because, you know, you want your people and your staff to look forward to coming to work and not just look forward to it, but actually perform really well. But at the same time, being competitive as well, you know, being able to compete with each other, it just makes everything a lot more fun.
What do you do in the circumstance where you got a really good person and they're just having like a rough streak of like 2-3 months of poor performance? How do you bring that person back to life?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, we call it burnout. So, I mean, shit, we even see it as operators sometimes. And it's just kind of like getting in there and like really getting in and figuring out what's going on in that person's life and finding areas in which to kind of like reignite, remotivate, re-energize. But it's like a natural instinct of individuals where it's just like, I think the big thing is as long as you have something beyond what they're doing, they have something to work towards, I think that helps a lot with burnout, right?
Right.
And it's just providing opportunity. It's just like, hey, we're doing this for this, and you put in work for, you know, X amount of time and you work towards something. I think people really work a lot harder and a lot more motivated and are a lot more committed when they're working for opportunity versus just working for money. You know, because you provide opportunity for somebody to just make some cash.
Right.
It's only a ticking bomb.
For sure.
Know, just because they get the cash and then they're like, what's next?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
And I'm sure you know this, right? Because you've made a lot of money. I've made a lot of money. And you get to that point where you're like, okay, I bought all the things. And, I'm not fully fulfilled yet, right? And so you start looking elsewhere, right? Have you experienced that yet?
Oh yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, it happens for me like every couple of years because I'll like set like a really big goal and then I'll achieve it. And then I'm just like, well, I've seen everything, I traveled everywhere, I got all the material things, made all the money, build sales teams and have all the success. And, you know, it comes to the part of just like getting yourself to get really uncomfortable again and setting bigger goals.
Yeah.
Something to work towards.
Is that what you've done? Have you created a new goal?
Yeah.
What's that?
I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. We explored kind of the franchise model, so we're going more towards the GM model and opening up markets in different cities and markets versus just in Dallas and Texas.
So going national?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Recently opened office in San Antonio. We got Houston up next. And, you know, Austin's just a terrible market. I hate that market. I mean, we make money in it, but it's just like, man, it's just crazy. So, we plan to open quite a bit of offices in the next 24 months.
Texas is so big.
Yeah, it's hard to leave it.
Well, I mean, you could try, but you'll still be in Texas.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's so big. I've driven through it with Pace and I'm like, man, are we there yet? Like, what's
road trip savages?
Like, what is going on, dude? Like, when are there going to be hills? Why does it smell like poo?
When is there going to be hills?
And he's like, there's never going to be hills.
There he goes, roasting Texas.
And it's always going to smell like poo. I mean, it does though, bro.
I don't know about the smell. I mean, it's
a lot of
agriculture.
Green.
It's a lot of grass.
Yeah, that's true. It's greener than it is here.
You know, I like Texas. I mean, in Dallas specifically, it's easy to get anywhere in the country. You can fly anywhere in the country like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Here it takes you like 6 hours to get to Florida.
Yeah, it's terrible. Getting to the East Coast from this part of the country is just for the birds. I don't travel there much because of that. I think, 6-hour flight. It's like, come on, man. It's like half your day.
Yeah.
Right. But I get it. So you're just a couple hours away from Florida, a couple hours away from Arizona. So you can. California is probably a trek.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trek. I mean, who likes to go to really California anyway? Bobby does. That's my spot.
I mean, that's my spot too. I got a house out there. It's just.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the antithesis of Florida, though, right? It's like dirty and all the things, and Florida's like sparkly and clean.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's like, when the Pilgrims came, they started on the East Coast, and then they traveled all the way to the West, and now everybody's going back. They're going from the West to the East again.
It's the pendulum swing, right?
It's like, well, make up your fucking mind, humankind.
How has the migration from other states into Texas affected business, culture, and politics, in your opinion?
Man, it's constant influence. I mean, people are moving by the hundreds, coming to Texas, especially from California.
Yeah.
And, they have like this saying in Texas, like, don't make Texas California.
Right.
Or I forgot what the saying is, but, they'll start in Austin and then they'll hate the politics there because they'll vote for the same bullshit from what they did in California. And then they'll move to Dallas or Houston, or they'll just go to Florida. So they'll go from LA to Phoenix or Vegas, and then from Phoenix to Vegas, then they're moving to Dallas or Austin.
Right.
And then from there, they're moving to Florida. It's like once you get, start growing up, I mean, a lot of my friends, they start making money and then they just dip out to Florida.
True. So pivoting a little bit away from the business, right? Because you and I are friends, and we've had some pretty great conversations before, just about life and like what's been going on. People might recognize you from the reality TV show, right? That was fun to watch, and interesting how they portrayed you, because you're not that guy, but also
you got to get the views.
You got to get the views. So like, what's happening on that front?
On the TV side?
No, just like, personal stuff, and like if you're open to talking about it. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, me and my son's mom split up, and she does well for herself, and we went our separate ways, and we co-parent and raise our son, and he's a beautiful child, and it's amazing watching this child grow. And it's just like, if anybody really loves you in this world, nobody's gonna love you more than your own child, and that's so awesome.
It really is.
Being a dad.
How is juggling entrepreneurship, all of it? Because when you have your son, it's just you now, right?
Yeah.
And I can imagine, because I go to Canada and visit my kid, and when it's just me and her, I'm like, man, it's tough to juggle it all when it's just me and her, right? Yeah. How do you manage?
Man, I'm pretty blessed. I got a good, support system with family. We have, it takes a village to raise a child.
Of course.
So I have, a lot of support, within my family, because I'm Mexican, so there's a lot of us,
Yeah.
Plus, nannies work great too. I have a nanny, so she helps out a lot. So, as far as being a, I guess, what do you call it, a parent, a single parent, I guess, per se, or a single father, I don't really see it as just like a challenge, or it's like something of like a burden, something negative. It's just like, if anything, I spend a lot more time with my child, one-on-one time with him. It's just because, one of the toughest parts of going through a breakup, especially when you got kids, is just like you feel like you're losing out on time with that child.
Right.
But you kind of look at, there's a lot of benefits to whatever situation you're in, and for me, it's just like I'm able to spend a lot of one-on-one time with him, and it's been good. But obviously, it has its challenges, just because it's like, raising a child is like, obviously it's something new. Every day, it's like he's learning every day, he's growing every day, and he's paying attention to everything. And it's so funny, like I'm putting my contacts in the mirror, and he's trying to put his his fingers pointing in his eyes, and I'm like, dude, you're like just like me, So you got to kind of be careful, like what you say and what you do.
They sponges.
I think, most importantly, it's just like, man, this kid's gonna be me, So it's just like, if he sees anything, I want him to see the best version of myself. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I focus on.
That's dope. So are you doing anything personally in terms of the development side? We've talked before about my stuff. I avid meditator, breath work, I go on psychedelic journeys and, different things to try to expand my consciousness and know myself better. What have you been doing in the world to better yourself? Because you're probably one of the most Zen dudes I know.
Zen dudes. Yeah, it's just like I got a mentor, a spiritual mentor, and working on getting closer with God and understanding my faith and my relationship with him. And I feel like that's kind of like one of the things that lacks in my life for a long time. And it's just like, I'm kind of realizing now the challenges that I've kind of went through is, 9 out of 10 problems that people have in their life, you can solve with money. It's just that one problem that you can't solve. And not only that, it's just like you try to ask people questions, and it's easier, to reach out with people who have experience. And then there's just some problems that you have in your life that nobody can help you with. They never experienced it, or what have you. Even in business as well. And so I kind of see these situations as, it's just like, who can help me? And, then you start asking God, and then he gives you answers. And it's just so fulfilling to kind of, realize is just like, nobody can take your faith away from you, but it's just like, being a believer and having, God in the standpoint, it's just like, he's going to give you answers if you ask him. But yeah, it's just like, like as a man, it's just like realizing as a leader, you know, we all face problems, but I mean, overcoming problems in business and personal life and whatever, eventually you're going to get to a point where people are going to come to you as a leader and ask you how you got through something. And so you kind of like look forward to those challenges, not like, hey, I hope I have problems, but you know, you kind of look at the positives of having situations happen in your life and how you're able to overcome it.
It's interesting, right? Because the growth comes from the most serious challenges we live in. Because I realize that when things are super comfortable for me, it's when I'm like complacent, I start to get fat, and I'm just like, I'm not feeling as good. There's a lot of things. And I'm also like, I'm sometimes waiting for the thing to come, right? And I've learned at 45 that you got to surrender, you know, and that's not from the perspective of like, I give up. It's surrender to, I know that God's got me. And if I can surrender to that and I live and walk in faith, then the next step illuminates, and then the next step illuminates, and then the next step illuminates, and then you follow that path that's divinely guided for you. In that faith, you get to a destination that's way better than the one that you had planned for yourself, right? And I don't think that I have the appropriate or even the faintest idea of the vision that God has for me. And, you know, I think you feel the same way for you. What are some of the things that you do see for yourself? Like, where do you see Donnie going?
Man, it's just like, I see, you know, obviously we're going to be the biggest wholesaling company in the country, and, you know, we're kind of competing against some giants, and it's not even like, hey, I'm going to like abolish these people, but it's just like being able to compete every single day is so fulfilling. Can't
believe he's talking shit about me right in my face like this. It's like, like I don't, like,
you know what's crazy? It's just like, I mean, we have similar business models, but we never run into each other.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's just so much opportunity.
There is, dude. There's
different communities, and it's just different angles. And I mean, obviously everybody's business is different in their own ways, but it's just like, especially the next 2 years, the markets, you know, I feel like it's going to correct a little bit more, but I feel like there's
has it been going down there a little bit? It's like becoming a buyer's market over here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I mean, there's just a lot of opportunity from what we would see on deals like 2 years ago that wouldn't be on the market. So there's a lot of opportunity for buyers right now. But being active and getting started in the game right now, if you do it today and right now, you know, summer 2026 is going to be printing cash. But yeah, I mean, I'm growing up. I'm a man now, so I want to buy some land.
So tell me about that. So you want a homestead, or?
I mean, yeah, it's just like the big house and cars is all fun and stuff, but it's just, I want, you know, like 10, 20 acres.
Would you farm? Grow some, you know, animals?
Yeah, they have this cool tax hack. I mean, you know, run into tax issues. You know, I'm sure you've experienced some.
I just paid a disgusting bill.
And so, you know, going and paying $40,000 a year in property tax and with no backyard is just so mind-boggling and frustrating for me. So I'm like, you know, I might as well get some land and have some chickens and have agriculture tag exempt. So that seems super inspiring to be.
Oh wait, you don't pay property taxes when you have agriculture?
Yeah,
that's a hack out there, because your property taxes in Texas are stupid.
It's crazy how, because I mean, we don't have state income tax, so it's like,
so they collect it in the property taxes. Makes sense. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, it's all a cup game, isn't it? It's like, we don't get you here, but we're gonna get you there.
Yeah.
So you do the agriculture. Now you're tax exempt on the land. And then are you forced to produce a certain amount of food for the...
To be honest, I'm not very familiar with the actual tax law, but I mean, I do know not to avoid taxes, but, you know, I'm kind of like looking forward to all the benefits of, like, you know, having a horse or something.
Yeah.
Having a cow or something. Like, who has a cow?
I don't have a cow.
Maybe I'll have a cow. I don't know.
Do you know Tucker Max?
I don't know.
He's an author. He wrote the book, I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. And I had the luxury of going and getting to interview him at his homestead in Texas. And it was insane, dude. Like, this guy bought, I don't know, what was it, Bobby? 40 acres-ish? It was huge. He had this big, and it was like, he said the land was trash when he got it. They were like growing lawns on it. It wasn't being you know, cultivated to grow stuff, right? And so he had to come and he had to tend to the land, and he had to like revive it and get it, you know, ready for it to start bearing fruit, and you know, so he could plant crops. And so he's got crops, he's got goats, he's got chickens, he's got, I don't think I see cows there, but you know, he raises his own meat, kills his own food, and
that's a little bit extreme for me.
Yeah, for me too. I just don't know that I could like kill the animal. I don't know, dude. Maybe there's something.
You vegan?
No, I like eating meat. I'm like killing it. It's myself. That feels weird.
You like eating the crime but not committing it.
Yeah, yeah. Which I guess, there's some bitch assness to that, right? Because there's yeah, right? Because like
I always forget that you're a fucking comedian, bro.
right. But there is, right? There's total bitch assness. And if I'm gonna eat it, I should be able to take its life and give it gratitude for sacrificing itself for me to be able to sustain my body, right? And so that's what he was talking about. He's like, there's something so spiritual about being able to thank this animal for laying its life down to benefit you and your family.
You know what I was thinking? I was like, what if a human never ate protein from animals and just like lived vegan and vegetarian their entire life? Has that ever happened?
I think, well, some have. Like,
Probably live long now.
Hindus.
Maybe the meat is killing us.
It could be. Hindus, for instance, they're vegetarian. And when you're born a Hindu, and if your parents are super Hindu, then you're going to be a vegetarian baby, right? And so they're staying vegetarians for their whole life. And I can say, like, they tend to be, like, nicer,
Happier.
They're happier. They're not
They smile
fat,
more.
like their skin is brighter.
Yeah.
But they tend to lack a little bit of that aggression that I think maybe meat eaters get from the hormones or something else that's within there. Yeah, because it's like there's a flip side to it, right? They're like super nice and like incredibly generous people, but then you don't see them, kicking ass and taking names, right? Except for Gandhi. I mean, I think Gandhi was the most gangster Hindu that we know of. And even he was still not, he was just like, no, like, he's like, everybody be friends, so it was one of those things. So like he got famous for being a bitch ass a little bit. Oh my God, I just called Gandhi a bitch ass. I don't mean that, but you know what I mean, right? Like
so funny, Jamil.
Right? That one's gonna go viral. Oh man, I take it back. I love you, Gandhi.
Man. You're gonna get banned from all.
I know. I'm only allowed to go to India. Not that I've ever been. Like it's funny.
Aren't you
because
Indian?
I'm Indian.
You've never been to India?
Never been to India. I never dated an Indian girl until just recently.
Oh wow, he's going super public with all these relationships.
It's
stuff.
like
Good
it was
for you, bro.
it was weird, dude. I was just like white girls all my life. I don't know what it was. It's just one of those things.
Going back home.
But now I'm going back home and eating curry with my hands. All the things. All the things. Smell my fingers. Huh?
Oh my God. No, I'm kidding. I mean, not gonna lie, he did offer me an Indian dessert before we got on this pod.
Because I just had some Indian food last night.
I was like, I walked in his house. I was like, beautiful house, Jamil. Actually, you're more brown than usual.
Because yeah, a little bit.
And also, do you have a gate on your pool, or?
So it's not it's a little mini wall, and the reason for it is I used to have a Frenchie.
Oh, okay, and he would just drown himself.
Well, he could easily fall into the pool, so I built that for him, and now I have these two Labradoodles, and they don't give a shit about this glass or this gate.
Jump over.
They just jump over it and go right into the pool. Those dogs are terrorists.
Oh man.
I'm getting a trainer in here next week to come and help because it's me. I'm the problem for sure.
Yeah.
And they don't respect me. They swear at me. They piss all over me. They shit on the couch. One poops on the couch upstairs.
Why on the couch? That's craziness.
Of all the places. You have any animals?
I have a dog, yeah.
Good. He's a good boy.
Yeah, he's good. He's like a chill dog. He's a mini Aussie. No issues. He's a certified lover boy. He's been with me, 8-9 years. Been through hell and back with me. And I love that dog to death.
Yeah.
Him and my son get along great. My son's kind of a little shit to him sometimes and kind of nips at him or whatever. I'm like, see, there's always consequences. And he's kind of learning how to be kind. It's kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Son and dog. So it's like
watching the kids interact with that is pretty neat. What do you do for hobbies? It was I asked the question because when I meet somebody super successful, I wonder do you have time or what are some things that you can do maybe with some resources or whatever? Reason again, I was at a meditation retreat. There were these European dudes. They were super successful guys.
It's like a healing retreat.
Yeah, like a Joe Dispenza. You familiar with him?
I am,
yeah. So, we were sitting at a table and they were like talking about their hobbies. And then, they were kind of going around and then they came to me and they were like, what are your hobbies? And I'm like, I don't have any hobbies.
Yeah.
And I was a little embarrassed about that, right? Because it's like, how do I not even have any hobbies? Do you have hobbies?
Yeah. I always, when people ask me that, it's like, I don't know. I like to travel, spend time with my family and work.
But those are things we do. I mean, I travel, spend time with family and work. But what do you like watch birds? Do I
watch birds?
Yeah. Or do you model trains, collect old Playboys? What's your...
No, actually, I bought a house one time and it had like a big, huge collection of it in the back. But anyways, hobbies, you know, it's like I really, you know, enjoy, you know, spending time with my family. You know, I guess it's not really a hobby, but, you know, I like to work out.
So you don't have no hobbies
like to
either.
read.
Yeah, you don't have any hobbies.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, for me, like things I enjoy to do personally, it's just like, you know, people like to think I'm like a selfish person, but I'm actually really selfless. Like, I feel like when I'm just doing something for myself, then it's just like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But, you know, the things I enjoy, I love being a dad. So it's just like, kind of like learning this phase of life of just like having lack of free time.
Yep.
Is definitely different. So.
How old is your boy?
He's 3.
What are the TV shows you guys watch right now?
He's really into Nikki and Vlad and Linnea or something like that.
Okay. You got to watch that all day, I'm sure.
No, not really. I mean, we're like doing activities, arts and crafts. We're in arts and crafts season right now.
Okay.
He's like learning how to draw, learning how to stand the lines, and he's getting a lot better. Like every time he, you know, colors something, it's better and better. I'm like, you're gonna be a fucking amazing person.
You know, the ages birth to 7 is the time, right? Their brain waves are in theta.
Yeah.
And so everything that you're doing right now is programming him with, this is how you behave, this is how you love, this is how you feel, this is how you treat other people, this is how you treat yourself. What do you think are some of the key principles you want your little boy to really ingrain in his mind at this young age?
At this young age, I mean, just learning how to be patient. You know, it's just like, I mean, everything's so fast right now. It's a lot different from when we were raised.
Is he playing with tech? Do you have him on iPad?
I mean, yeah, he is, but like he's actually like, he doesn't like sweet stuff. Like he doesn't like eating candy or ice cream. I mean, I'm blessed. You know, his mom's awesome and with the health and stuff. But he prefers, especially right now, to do arts and crafts versus be on the iPad. He's like, no iPad. I'll be on my phone. And he'd come up to me and be like, no phone one day, Dada. One day, no phone.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude.
3 years old.
3 years
He's
old.
like, put your phone down.
3 years old, yeah. And then, you know, when it's time to watch a movie, he knows how to make popcorn by himself. Like, go in the pantry, get it, and press the right button, and then put it in a bowl, and then take it up to the theater room and turn it on. And I'm like, holy crap, this dude. The big thing I'm teaching him right now, especially because me and his mom, you know, aren't together anymore, is independence. You know, and learning how to, you know, obviously protect himself. And for me, it's just like, when people ask you, are you tough or not, or whatever, it's just like, if somebody challenges you, now he has this saying, it's like, I'm not no Mickey Mouse, not no Mickey Mouse. Instead of like, I'm not no little bitch, he says, I'm not no Mickey Mouse.
That's great.
So teach him how to be tough, you know?
Yeah. Tough and tender.
Tough and tender. Tough,
At the
tender,
same,
kind,
you know,
and, independent.
Yeah, that's really cool, dude. I love that. And I have daughters, 2 daughters, and they bring out that tenderness out of a man, right? Because like they're your girls, right? And so you're like tender with your girls, and I don't have the experience of raising a son.
We still got time. We're only 45.
I still got time. I'm only 45. Yeah, everything still works. Yep. And so it's yeah, so hopefully, you know, there'll be an opportunity to, but you know, who knows? I might have another kid. It could be another girl. That just might be my destiny in this world. What's sad is that if I don't have a son, the Damji name dies with me. Yeah. And so I'm really like, I gotta get a boy, you know?
I like 2 more boys for me, you know, at least. So 3 boys at least. So obviously I'm gonna have girls in the meantime. You know?
Yeah. You want a bunch of kids?
Yeah. I was kind of hoping for a girl, like you know, the first go around, because you know, having, you know, somebody to help, you know, nurture the kids as they get older. So we'll see what the future holds.
That's dope, dude. What are you reading?
I'm kind of like a what do you call the person that reads like multiple books at the same time. Okay. So I'm kind of like the Awakening the Giant's really good. I mean, that's a massive book.
The Tony Robbins?
Yeah, Tony Robbins. Yeah. And I'm kind of in Harry Potter right now.
Oh, no doubt.
So I've been like super into you know, personal development books like my whole life, you know. Yeah. And getting a lot more into fiction books is just like,
I'm a John Grisham junkie.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, the storytelling is just amazing with a lot of these authors. Yeah. You know, the ability to tell stories in words is just so awesome, just because it's just like, I felt like it kind of feeds into your personality.
Audible or physical?
Physical.
Oh, you're old school, dude.
Yeah, old school.
Do you do both at the same time, or just?
No, not really. I mean, if I'm listening to someone, I'll just do podcasts.
Wow. I'm mainly Audible on my books. If it's a book that I know that I'm going to want to take notes in, I'll get the physical copy and listen to it at the same time, because the ADD kind of gets me, you know? It's like I'll read a book and I just get sleepy. Yeah. But if I'm listening to it and I'm reading it at the same time, the sleepiness doesn't come. So then I can take notes and highlight and do all the things.
Well, I mean, the trick that I do is I put it in my bathrooms. So anytime I, you know, go it's right there.
Yeah, instead of just scrolling on your phone.
Yeah,
and getting germs all over it.
Yeah, just put the phone on the charger and, you know, take a doo-doo and read some books.
That's a good plan, you know? If you spend at least, dudes spend like half an hour on the toilet.
Dude, I don't know what you're eating. I'm in and out.
Indian
like, I don't know,
food.
7 minutes tops.
Hey, that's all you get to read in? 7 minutes, like, done.
Yeah.
You get chapter.
Good 7 minutes.
Get out.
A couple times a day.
I mean,
Yeah.
this was a range of topics.
It was super range of topics.
Kind of
So
random.
what's good with you, man? What's new with you? Anything?
Oh, dude, I know.
What's
I asked all
next
the
for you?
questions.
What's next for you?
me? God, dude. So I've been on a journey myself, right? Being single, I'm on the market, but I'm kind of seeing somebody at the moment, and that's really fun for me. It's like a new thing to be back in the scene like that after 15 years, right? Like when I got taken off the market, online dating just kind of started, right? So I never went into the apps or anything like that. I met the person I'm seeing now organically at a charity event. It was a nice, way to kind of bump into somebody, and then we like just spoke and talked for like 6 months without there being any pretense of a relationship, and then it evolved from a friendship into a little bit more, and I like that. And so I'm kind of testing to see what that looks like and where that goes. In addition to that, right now for me, business is good. It can always grow and do other things. I'm not the CEO at Keegley, and so I'm not literally driving the boat there, but I have my job is to fly the flag, right? And so one of the things I want to do for 25 is fly the flag better, because when you do coaching and you have a company, it's hard to have focus on both, right? And so I put a lot of focus on Astro and neglected the Keegley brand that I, have spent so much time building and developing. So I'm going to really spend a good chunk of my time really just redeveloping and re-ingraining myself back into the culture at Keegley and helping that business get to the next levels and do the things that I know it can be. So that's that. In addition to, I've been on a transformative journey myself. And there's this goal of, self-actualization to be the best and biggest version of yourself that you can be, to tap into that quality that is connected to the divine, And for me, because I've had glimpses and tastes of it. Yeah.
The wholesale genie.
For real. I've had glimpses of it. I've had moments where I have been able to kind of peek behind the curtain and I know there's more. I know that we're dimensional, and I've visited dimensions. And so I want to explore that more. I'm really, really enjoying getting to know in my inner space, because, in Astro, I was like, I'm on outer space. I'm flipping houses all over the space. But like inner space is where I'm paying a lot of attention these days. So I'm spending a lot of time in silence. I've been contemplating, reading, meditating, doing breath work, just wondering what is it all about and why are we here? And then every day I get to meet or talk to somebody that mirrors to me the answer, because I think that's what we are to each other. We're mirrors, right? And I have this theory, and I don't know if it's correct, but I think I'm onto something, that if you want to know how you're doing inside, if you want to know where you are, pay attention to the next person you meet, because
your energy attracts.
100%, right? And so
it's amazing.
And it'll just give you real-time feedback, right? So if I'm like, in a situation and some angry thing comes and finds me, or some calamity finds me, or something that's low vibrational finds me, I can have a really good, if I can't feel it inside, I can see it out there. I see that I'm reflecting this, right? And so then it gives me an opportunity to go in and course correct. And so I'm having fun playing with that, right? It's an interesting model to really work in. And beyond that, just continuing raising my kid. I've been spending a week in Canada every month.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, what a thing, right? So my daughter, she's 15, and you don't have a daughter, but like they need their dads, right? And her stepdad's amazing. He's a wonderful guy, and he does his best. I still know that she's craving me and attention from me. And when she would come to town, I wasn't giving it to her the way that was authentic, because she'd come to town and I would do all these things.
Right.
I would stop working. I would just focus on her, and I would go on a trip. We'd do this. I'd blow money. I'd do all these things. And then she just had this unrealistic expectation and idea of what it's like to be with dad. And, when I got illumined that from her mother, she didn't say it to me complainingly. She said it to me in just like, this is hard. I thought I could do better. And so I got a spot 5 minutes down the road from where her mom lives. And I go in, I pick her up on the weekend. On Monday, I take her to school, pick her up from school, come home. If there's homework to do that, make some dinner, go to sleep, and do that over and over again in a really simplified version of what my life looks like here, right? Get this little apartment, drive a little Nissan. Like, it's nothing like how I live out here. And it's so rewarding. It's like the best week of my month
Yeah.
to just be there with a 15-year-old kid and be in her presence.
Well, I mean, bro, it's like, I mean, now it's just like having a child. It's just kind of hard for somebody to love me more than my child loves me.
Right?
You know, it's like real unconditional love. So that's like the best part about having kids. My pastor actually said something. It's just like, you know, the closest to you get to being like God is being a father. And kind of spoke to me. He was like, you know, God is our father, and He has all of us as children.
Yeah.
And as a father, you know, it's just like, you know, being an example and, you know, being able to spend time just because like our father loves us, but I mean, He also speaks to us too. You know, and it's problematic if your child isn't reaching out to you, if your child doesn't want to spend time with you, just like it's problematic when people don't want to spend time with God here. You know, they have a bunch of issues, or like they choose the devil or whatever, you know? So I think that's kind of like one of the awesome parts about being a dad. So, dude, good for you, man.
Yeah.
It's a sacrifice for sure.
It is. And it's also, it's funny because, you know, so as I tell this story to people, I get a lot of people like, oh my God, that's amazing. And, you know, or like, hey, that's great. And I accept that. It's cool. But like, what's our society where that has to be congratulated?
Yeah. It's like everybody should. It should be
Like that should be the norm,
Yeah.
right? It's like, it should be expected. Like, of course you would do that. Of course you would do everything you can to be around your kid, you know, and to do things. And so, you know, maybe like dads like you, dads like me, dads like others may be watching this right now who are thinking, yeah, I feel like that. I'm that kind of father.
Yeah.
The better examples we are to this generation, the better fathers they'll be to the next, and to the next, to the next, to the next. And then lo and behold, we'll have a society at some point of dads that are like good shit, you know? So I ask these two questions to people typically when we wrap, and I want to ask you, I'm sure, and I may know one of the answers that you would give, but college, what's your viewpoint on it? Do you think it's a valuable tool, necessary? Would you send your child, or would you skip it?
Man, it's I mean, with my son now, it's just like, obviously I'm super entrepreneur driven, but I don't want to be the dad where I'm like forcing my kid to do things, right? And then he just doesn't enjoy it, or doesn't want to do it, or hates it. I feel like as he gets older, you know, I want to obviously encourage him to, you know, find attributes and things that he enjoys to do. So that way he can be the best at it, right? But I do think education is important. Me, myself, I obviously didn't finish college, but I still educated myself. I'm always learning something, right? So the ability to understand that, you know, get education comes in a lot of different ways, but I feel like, you know, the college model in today's world isn't something that I'm just gonna like hard press my child on doing. Absolutely not. But I definitely want to encourage my son. It's just like, hey, if you want to go into a certain direction, even for me, like I was damn near went through a midlife crisis at 29 years old. I'm like, what do I actually want in my life, right? And I was thinking, I was like, you know what I really enjoy is I love terrorizing the courtroom and winning every single fucking court case I'm ever in real estate, right? So I was just like, what if I could just be an attorney? You know, and then I was like thinking, I was like, holy shit, I got all excited again, and I was like, damn, I got to go back to school.
Would you do that?
No, I mean, God sent me a message. He's like, just marry an attorney. So I was like, that's great. Smart.
That's
He
good,
has the
dude.
answers. I'm like, yeah, it's probably a lot
That's
easier.
great. That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
So yeah, it's just like, I'm, you know, I encourage my child to definitely go to school. I mean, I did some college, and you know, the college classes that I did it very strategic. I took classes where I could actually like learn things that I needed to learn. You know, I even thought about going back to like learn coding, because I made a commitment to try to like learn that attribute of like software and stuff this year. So, I mean, you know, we got 15 years. It's 15 years from now. So who knows? Everything could just be AI. You know,
God knows,
or peasants to machines.
I know. I'm not scared of it though. I feel like everything that we've had as a technological advancement in humanity has freed us up to do better things, right? So the Industrial Revolution took us, you know, away from having to use our body and letting machines do the things that our body was doing, so we could free ourselves to use our minds.
Well, I mean, that's scary too, because some computers are smarter than us.
They're faster than us, but like we are the most complex computer that exists.
I think the only thing that separates us between us and computers is just real love and emotion.
Yeah, that's a true thing. Yeah, I mean, the decision-making process can be all coded, right?
I actually read an article that's like a 14-year-old.
But consciousness, like self-awareness, is fundamental.
Well, there was like a 14-year-old kid that actually committed suicide because he fell in love with like an AI chatbot or something, and she like broke up with him.
Whoa.
Yeah, I gotta find an article.
That's a real thing?
That was like a real thing. I was like, holy crap, you know, having a child in today's world is so scary, you know, because like, you know, protecting them and making sure that, like, I mean, the biggest thing for my son is just to like make sure that he knows that I'm there for him. And that I love him, you know? And I feel like that's kind of like one of the scariest parts about technology is like, who knows what's going to happen. It's just going to get better and better, more dangerous if it wants to be.
And you know, at the end of the day, I don't think there's any accidents. And so if God wills it, it will be, right?
Yep. What do you think about college?
I'm not a fan, but again, like you, if my kid has wants to do something professional, like I want to be a doctor, an attorney, an accountant, or something that she needs a college degree for, absolutely. But if it's like, I want to go have the college experience, I know what that is. It's drugs, it's alcohol, it's partying. I would say, hey, why not just go travel? Go see the world. You'll do way better out there. You'll still be able to do all the fun. You'll have lots of fun, but you'll see Greece, you'll see Rome, you'll see these places, you'll experience cultures. And I would way rather my child do that than just go get a sociology degree.
My grandparents actually really instilled into all of my siblings and I, find a career path and build a foundation so you can, fish for yourself and have a good foundation of survival for the rest of your life. And it's going to take a commitment initially. And I remember when I made the hard choice to not go to college, and obviously, my elders and my family had, I'm like, you guys don't go to college anyways. But anyways, you know what I mean? Everybody wants the best for their child, but I was like, I am getting my education. I just did sales full time for 4 or 5 years. And that was like my education.
Yeah.
Foundation. I got really good at it. So yeah.
And it's carried you through.
Yeah, it's carried. I mean, nobody can take, the things that I do know, nobody can take what you know, your experience, and, your faith with God.
Amen. Last question. Why are we here? What's the purpose?
Why are we here?
Yeah.
Me and you?
All of it.
Oh, like, why are we on Earth?
Yeah.
Why are we on Earth?
What does it mean? What do you think it means?
Man, it's just like, I feel like obviously, we're buddies, but I mean, as operators, you always ask like questions. It's like, why me? Why me? And, the older I get, I was like always trying to find like the science to the madness of like how I'm able to do and perform and, be a leader or whatever and try to like duplicate the process. And I just come to an understanding where it's just like, when you're favored by God, being a servant of Him and trusting Him, and He's trusting you, So I'm a firm believer of being a servant of God, and He intends us to be on a mission to, help a lot of people and make the world a better place, And that's what you do every day, It's like, I took a break for a year, and it's just like, I was like calling me and like, you got to stop saying no. I'm like, okay, stop saying no. So
there you go.
That's why I'm here.
Tell the people how they can get a hold of you, reach you.
Yeah, the Donovan Ruffin, Instagram, the Donovan Ruffin, Donovan Ruffin on Facebook. I mean, you can Google me and find me. I mean, I'm not that hard to find.
No.
We're operators. So
I love you, brother.
I love you
Great
too,
to
brother.
see you. Thanks for coming through.
Yeah,
appreciate having you in the house. And one of the guys you reached out to when you came to town, it means a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I'm only in town for a couple hours, so I gotta, see my homies for a little bit. Serve the community in some way if we can.
That's it. If you guys found value in this, do the things. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Leave Donovan a comment.
If you're still listening to this, I want to pay attention to those people. So send me an emoji of a tree.
Hey, send
Donnie
an
emoji.
Tree emoji. That's going to accelerate you to the front of the line of his DMs.
Yeah, I'm going to start paying attention because I know you're paying attention to this point of the podcast.
Yeah.
I know you pay attention.
A tree. Love you, bro.
Love you too, brother.
See you guys.